Would it be wrong of me to put my child on a dog cooling mat? It's not just about the fluids when you're really hot. I have crisps and ice cream for dinner. I put an absolute ban on going outside yesterday as well. Those are medical emergency signs.
I don't understand what a sunstroke is.
We have made it through the first heat wave of summer 2025. First one, but it's definitely not going to be the last, and it's probably not going to be the worst. And this time around, Elin did not go into uncontrollable vomits, which is unusual for her with the heat. She does not cope well, but she coped better than I've ever seen her. We did not have massive seizures, we did not have massive vomits, and I'm going to take that win. I had a grumpy, sweaty teenager who did not want to be a part of the world, but better than a child who can't even keep fluids down, which is what we've usually been dealing with every heat wave. And so I thought it was about time that we did an updated heatwave videos, because I think it's been a couple of years since I did the last one, and I think it's important because there's a lot of us out there with complex needs kiddos, and we see the weather forecast and think, oh crap, what are we in for now? So if you like this, make sure that you follow or subscribe and share our videos with somebody who you think can benefit from seeing it. And if you don't mind, leave the ads running for a bit of time. We make a little bit of money from this YouTube channel, and it really helps me and my family and gives us enough money to go and do things together and not just live for rent, bills and food, but actually have a little bit of a life as well. So this year, what has been different? I think a large part of what has been different is that Elin is older and she's a bit bigger. I mean, she's still a skinny mini, isn't she? But there's more of her, and that just means that she has more resources to take from when her body is put under extra stresses like a heat wave does to her. We had meltdowns, we had full-on grumps, and we had a very, very tired child, but we didn't have a medical emergency this time, and that was really nice, because usually during a heat wave I have the hospital bag half packed and a foot out the door ready to take her into hospital for IV drip, because that's usually what we end up doing, right? So yes, to a large part, I think what has been different this year is simply that Elin is older and a bit bigger. For those of you who have very young complex needs kids and are really struggling, maybe a glimmer of hope that it might change as they get a little older. Another thing that has changed this year, and I don't know how big a part that is, but we have just started Elin on a medicine called Gabapentin. And Gabapentin is quite a strong muscle relaxant. And it's not an anti-seizure medicine, although some people find that it does help with their seizures. And we're only a few days in, but I've not seen as many seizures with Elin since we started it. And we've definitely seen less spasms. So that is one thing I think has made a difference. You know, Gabapentin is not there to cool you down, but it is there to help you relax. And I think that in general has helped her as well. I did see on social media a lot, particularly yesterday, people asking about cheap air conditioning unit with fast delivery and fast installment, and I don't have air conditioning. I really don't. I have fans. I've also seen people trying out cooling mats, and that's not something I've ever tried either. I'd be interested actually. I think like a dog cooling mat. Would it be wrong of me to put my child on a dog cooling mat? We were selling them in the shop actually. I should really try. Should we try a cooling mat? For the next heat? Yeah, you want to try a cooling mat for the next heat wave. But no, I don't have AC, I don't have cooling mats. I do have fans, obviously fluids, and very low expectations. Not much happened yesterday, I can tell you that. So I have a tower oscillating fan, and that was running pretty much all day yesterday. And it does help. Even if it is just stirring the warm air around, at least it is moving it, so you're not just cooking and baking in it. So an oscillating fan, I think, is a really, really useful thing to have. Another thing that I did actually buy before the heat wave, because I was thinking ahead, is this. So it's a little handheld fan, rechargeable. It has a USB-C charger and it charges really quickly. It holds the charge a long time, and because it's got these octopus legs, we can do a lot of different things with it. I can put it on Elin's wheelchair, I can put it on the side of her bed, I can put it on a flat surface and just bend the legs out. I can even attach it to Elin's hand like this, and then she's holding it herself. And it has 3 settings. Let's see if I turn it on. It's not particularly noisy. This is the lower setting. We haven't really had to turn it on any higher than this. You know, she enjoys it, and we can aim it at her face and cool her head down, and that's worked really well too. Now, I bought this from TikTok shop, and that also means that I sell it in my TikTok shop. So if you're interested, you can go to my TikTok shop and buy it through there. It is super important, obviously, to stay hydrated, but if you have a child who vomits a lot, it is very difficult to stay hydrated. So whatever rehydration salts you've got available in your country, we have Dioralyte here in the UK, and Oh, you tell every time I ask you guys this, you tell me what it's called in different countries, and I really appreciate it, and I always forget it. But there's a common field down below this video. So what are the rehydration salts called in your country? Share it so other people can read it in there. They are very, very good for just rebalancing your body. Hi. No, I am recording a vlog about how to stay cool and manage a heat wave.
Okay.
Just plain water, juices, anything really that you can get in. But, and I think this is an important one, it's not just about the fluids when you're really hot. If you're really hot and all you do the entire day is drink water and you don't have any food in you, again, you don't get that balance of salts that you need in your body in order to actually manage a heat wave. I still kept feeding my children, although I have to say that my expectations of food, again, somewhat lowered. I had actually been smart enough to cook ahead the day before I had my kids. So yes, I was incredibly hot and cooking food, but at least on the worst, Alice, that is a really annoying sound. On the worst heat wave day, I didn't need to cook. I just needed to reheat mine and Alice's food, and I had Elin's blend all ready to go. And little and often. And quite frankly, if you want to have crisps and ice cream for dinner, have crisps and ice cream for dinner.
Is that actually what you've had?
No, we had proper dinner, didn't we? But we also had
Yes.
crisps and we also had ice cream.
Yeah.
And then different ways of cooling down. So one thing that we like to do with Elin, and we would have done yesterday if I could have found my little water spray bottle, is to make sure that we get water misting. So I wouldn't pick up my water spray bottle and hold it in front of Elin and just go right in her face. But with the fan on, if you say that where you are, the camera, is the fan, and you then have the spray bottle and you spray it straight up in the air, and then the fan just mists these tiny little droplets. Elin really likes that, and it works wonders to cool her down. And also, do you know those picnic ice block things you can have? So I have a bunch of them in my freezer. You know, these rectangular plastic things with the fluid inside them, and you put them in the freezer and they freeze. You can take those, wrap them in towels, place them in bed. It cools the bed down, and it just makes it so much nicer to sleep in when you are super hot.
I didn't know you had a plastic ice cube.
The ice blocks, the ones that you use as an ice pack when you're hurt.
Oh,
those.
that wasn't what I was thinking.
No, I know that wasn't what you're thinking. Oh, and I put an absolute ban on going outside yesterday as well, which was incredibly boring, wasn't it? I'm bored, I want to play with someone.
And nobody was available like right now.
Poor Alice, she's such a lonely child. But no, I could not take Elin outside yesterday. I took her out today, but even today she struggled, even though it was so much cooler. Yesterday, I could not take her out. It would not have been fair on her. You know, I talked about having very low standards. Lower your expectations, okay? It is super hot. You don't need to be super perfect. And that's why I'm saying that dinner, it can be just grazing and snacking things. It's fine. Extra naps, maybe not for me, but definitely for her, it's fine. Doing washing up in hot water on a hot day, who cares? Just lower your expectations. And if this child may have spent absolutely hours lying on my bed watching YouTube videos, it's absolutely fine. It was 31, 32 degrees yesterday. We were melting, and it's going to happen again. And a couple of years ago, we got up to 40 degrees. That could very well be happening this summer. It will be a day of fans, ice packs, spray bottle, ice cream, YouTube, and not much else, because it's not important. You don't need to be Superwoman.
No, and keep cool.
And keep cool and carry on.
And drink and eat.
Yeah. So there are warning signs that you need to look out for, obviously. Now, a child like Elin can't come and tell me, Mummy, I have a headache and I feel nauseous. But usually, you know, with somebody who's speaking, that is a very good warning sign that they are overheated and are having sunstroke, if they have a headache and feel nauseous. So with Elin, what I look out for is that she would start vomiting a lot or start having an increase in seizures. Those are medical emergency signs that would have me considering taking her into hospital.
Wait, if somebody gets a sunstroke, they have to go into hospital?
No, not necessarily. You can manage sunstroke at home if you get it on time. So if it has been a really hot day and you come and say to me that you feel really weird, then I would make sure that you drink some Dioralyte, even if you don't like it.
Oh, I hate Dioralyte. But I have it with squash.
Yeah, and I would make sure to cool you down.
Okay.
And force you to rest.
Oh, God. It's not like I ever want to rest.
If Elin was to become extremely floppy and unresponsive, and not just for falling asleep, she fell asleep at 6:15 last night, mid tantrum as well. She was sitting on Alice was holding her, and she was going and she was gone. And then she slept, and she slept the entire night. Hallelujah.
Oh.
Yeah, she did. She slept really well.
So that means you got a good night's sleep.
Yeah, and that...
Except for me maybe waking you up.
Yeah. Sure. And that wasn't her being floppy and unresponsive. That was her kind of going, okay, I'm done with the day. I'm going to bed now. But I would be looking out for her being floppy and unresponsive. And that's very difficult to see.
Unresponsive and floppy.
Floppy?
So I know floppy, but what do you mean by unresponsive?
Elin, hi.
So,
are you with us?
Yeah, she is.
She is. She is very tired, but we did get a little bit of response there. You can see she turned her head now when I started stroking her head. So now she's responsive. But she can become unresponsive when she's having loads of seizures. You know, when you talk to her in the middle of a seizure and she's not even reacting to you, that's unresponsive.
Yeah, but I don't really understand. So is that like a sunstroke? It does the blood in your vein, in your brain?
I think you're overthinking this, my love.
I don't understand what a sunstroke is.
You don't understand what a sunstroke is?
Yeah.
So sunstroke or heat stroke is when your body has gotten so overheated that it can no longer regulate itself, and you would get a fever. So that's another warning sign to look out for. Do you suddenly have a very, very high temperature, like 40-degree fever, because you've been overheated for so long, your body is not capable of fixing itself, because your body can actually regulate its own temperature. Even while you're feeling ridiculously and disgustingly hot, you don't have a fever. Like, you didn't get a fever yesterday, and neither did Elin.
But I didn't feel too hot yesterday at all.
You did actually really well.
Yeah, but the times when I get really hot, I feel my forehead. I feel hot, but then I want to check my temperature. I check it. It's fine.
Exactly.
That's what I don't understand. I'm boiling, I'm hot, I'm bothered, I check my temperature, I'm fine.
Yeah, because of that, you don't actually have full-blown heat stroke. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't take your feeling seriously. You still should.
Yeah,
And with heat stroke, you also get confusion, you get nausea, you get vomiting, and you can get loss of consciousness. And obviously, when those things are happening, it is really serious and you need to get medical advice. And with our complex needs kiddos, their bodies aren't working as well as they should do, and the risk of them overheating is so much bigger. And that's why it's so important to just... Will you excuse us? We're trying to vlog in here. Shush! We try to prevent that from happening in the first instance. But it has been difficult some years when the heat makes Elin vomit even before she's in full-on heat stroke, but she just... because she can't handle things, her body goes into vomiting whenever she's poorly and unwell. And then we can't keep fluids down, and then, you know, we're in very tricky territory. So don't hesitate to call and get medical advice if you are worried about a complex needs kid in a heat wave. The hospitals would rather that you call and ask for advice once too many than leave it too late. And so yesterday was tough. It was tough for all of us, and it was especially tough for Elin. But you know what? We survived it, and I think we're going to survive the other heat waves that are coming this summer, and I hope you will too.
The whole summer's going to be a heat wave.
The whole summer is going to be a heat wave.
Like, that's what summer is, a heat wave.
Well, it's 24 degrees today and it's summer. Today is nice. Well over 30 degrees is a heat wave. My child is so bored, I need to feed her.
Our first heat wave was 24 degrees.
No, it wasn't, honey.
Yes, it was.
Oh, do not contradict me. Oh, and your tongue is blue and revolting.
Oh.
If this helped, subscribe and follow us. Thanks for watching. Bye.